Hello everyone, the Flying Scotsman here, and welcome to this video. Now, a lot of you will know that I will use PCM to virtualize old x86 compatible computers on my main machine if there's something in an old operating system that I would like to video. Some of you will have seen my comparison between emulating a Pentium 2 400 versus a real bare metal Pentium 2 400. But there has been for a while a fork of PCM called 86box, and that tends to be a wee bit more technologically advanced in what it offers. So whereas 86box is kind of the more stable version that that will just work, 86box is, well, I mean, is out there trying new things, some of which don't work that well, some of which actually work quite well, and you know, stuff which I would hope gets ported downstream to PCM. But in the latest version of 86box, I've been reliably informed by Visual by Advance that it now supports emulating the Compaq Presario 2240. Now, this is the absolute latest version of PCM. I forget the version number, but I'm sure we'll be able to find an about screen once we get into it. Now, I have been asked by the Nostalgia Mall to make a video about this, so I shall. So, what I've done is I've got the latest ROM set, which includes a ROM to the Compaq Presario 2240 and 4500, as well as other machines, including an HP Vectra VL, of which my old school managed to get a shed load of those in 1999 and 2000. That was that was quite something when we got those, and you know, I've just been messing about with the ROM to that tonight, and yeah, that's brought back a fair amount of memories for me from the turn of the millennium. Anyway, back to the Compaq Presario 2240. Now, what I've done is not only do I have 86box downloaded with the ROM set, I also have the 86box manager, which allows you to configure VMs and have multiple ones, and you don't have to be messing about with multiple instances of the 86box program. I mean, that's just untidy. So, what we're going to do is we're actually going to build a Compaq Presario 2240. And we're going to see if we can emulate it. So, in order to do this, you want to have 86box Manager up and running, which I do. And I'm actually filming the whole screen here, rather than just what you actually see on the Compaq's display, because, well, we're going to be concentrating on using the program as well as a machine. So, we can start by adding a new VM by clicking the Add button. Now, you can import VM files. So we can either have the virtual machine start now or configure this virtual machine now. I'm actually going to tick that because we do want to configure it. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in Compaq Presario 2240. This is the one, the only, the legendary Compaq Presario 2240. Yeah. I'm not overselling the machine, I promise. Right, so we have the configuration set up. So, with the newest version of 86box, you now have a machine type option. So rather than just having a list of all the different motherboards and computers that are supported, and you've got to kind of scroll for Scotland to find your one, you can actually just go through from here. So the Compaq Presario 2240 is a socket 7. So I'm just going to go to machine type and then go down to socket 7. I think it's a single voltage. Can't remember. but we can find it, and we've got all the single voltage socket 7 machines here. Packard Bell PB640, nice, yeah. Gateway 2000, Tiger Eye, Supermicro, blah blah blah. Nope, that's not there, so maybe it's a dual voltage one. It was a K62. So let's have a look. Yep, there we go. It's a dual voltage socket 7. So, i430VX, 2240, Intel Pentium 75. Nope. The Presario 2240. For those interested, it has an AMD K6 running at 200 megahertz, and it had 32 megs of RAM from the factory. Quite interesting that it will support as low as 8 there, because I believe the original machine had its 32 megs soldered in, or was it 16? I can't even mind. That can only go up to a maximum of 48 megs of RAM. Quite depressing, especially for a machine sold in 97 through 98. So, what display type are we going to have? Well, we're going to have the, it already had graphics internally, so let's select those. So we can use the internal controller, which is an S3 Trio 64, I believe. Input device, now you want to make sure you add this, because 86box does not add it auto-magically. So, input device, we're going to have a standard PS2 mouse. Let's have a 2-buttoned one. And do you want a joystick? You can have a joystick. If you want a joystick, there's a joystick. Sound. Again, I mean, 86box could really do with supporting the internal controller, because it seems to be picked up by Windows, but doesn't actually seem to work. It's like it's not there or something. So we'll try with no sound just at the moment, and if we can't get the actual sound to work, then we'll install a Sound Blaster or something of that ilk. Now, network. We can add networking later if we want to, but the machine didn't have it out of the factory, so just while we're building it, no network. LPT device, again, I mean, this machine would have, well, we could have got it with a Compaq printer, but my mum didn't like the look of it, so, well, she decided to have her sensible head on, as my mother is apt to do when making quite significant purchases. So we came away with a Hewlett-Packard DeskJet 670C, much better printer. That's not emulated in here, but that does not mean to say that you can't emulate a printer in 86box. So we shall. You can emulate pretty much any LPT device that you would. Well, you can emulate a bunch of sound cards or networking cards or printers. So we're gonna emulate. You can emulate a generic text or a text printer, dot matrix, PostScript, or PLIP network. So that must be a parallel printer port network adapter. Quite a neat option to have in the old pocket, I would say. Anyway, nope, we're gonna generic PostScript. We're going to emulate a generic PostScript printer, because why not? Storage controllers. Well, we're gonna go for the internal controller. Same with the floppy disk. Tertiary IDE controller. Nope. Quaternary IDE controller. No. So now we need to make a hard disk. Now that had I think a 2.1 gig hard disk in the Presario originally. So what I'm going to do is I had made a Compaq Presario 2240 before, but I've now deleted it. We're going to start again, and let's make the disk. I mean, you can choose what kind of hard disk you want. So anything from MFM RLL all the way up through ID, SCSI, or Atapi. You can have predetermined hard disks. You know what types. And what image format you want, we're going to go for a dynamic sized VHD, virtual PC standard, and let's say, I don't know, 2196. I don't know if that was the actual size of that drive, I can't remember. And there we go, that's that set up and ready to go. The machine has a drive. As for Floppy and Cd drives, yes, the Presario 2240 has some. It didn't have two 5.25 inch 360k drives. I can tell you that is a cert. I can tell you that for certain because A, it has a 1.44 meg floppy drive, and B, where are you going to put that other floppy drive? It just wouldn't be any room in the case for it. So nope, no secondary floppy drive. But what we did have was a 1.44 meg high density diskette drive, and we had a single CD-ROM drive, and it was a 20 speed, so we will install a 20 speed CD drive in here. Excellent. So yep, that's fine. We could install other removable drives, MO drives, zip drives. Nope, we don't want to. And we could install certain ISA memory cards and mainframe cards and clock cards, stuff like that. But again, we're not going to. We could install a post card if we wanted to. Nice, but we don't need to. So there we go. Takes a couple of seconds, but that is the Compaq Presario 2240 created. Now here's something that I'm going to do that is my preferences. You don't have to, you can start the machine, but I like the screen to be a certain size, and I like it to stay that size despite what the guest resolution is. And that in PCM I can set a custom size window. In 86box you've got to do it through the config file. I have flagged this as a feature that I would like within GitHub. So yeah, let's but that's then, and this is now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, it's this line that I care about, window underscore coordinates 1272 1026 2989. Now these first two numbers are the resolution, the size that I would like the window to be. The second set of numbers are where on the screen I would like the window to go. Now this resolution looks a bit non-standard, but I have to take into account the size of the window elements. So what I actually want is a viewing area of 1280 by 960. But or no, that's no, that's not 1280 by 960. Oh well. Jings. I don't know what that is. But either way, I've had to account for various elements of the window, the actual window. So the menu bar, the title bar, the status bar, they all take up room. And when I'm putting the resolution of the window, that's not just of the actual screen itself, that's of the window. So while I think I might be putting in a 4:3 resolution, that's not going to be what appears on the screen. It's going to be slightly out of proportion. It's the aspect ratio is not going to be right, because the window itself might be 4:3, but the actual screen isn't. So the I can't remember how many pixels across, how many more pixels I needed to add for the horizontal resolution, but for the vertical resolution I need to add 72. to it. Wait. I'm going to need to stop you there. This is the Flying Scotsman from the future speaking. And since I started making this video, I had everything all ready to go and throw into the video editor and call it good. I actually decided to submit a feature request to the people who do 86box for the setting the Windows dimension thing that I was talking about. And lo and behold, in 86box build 915B0EAC, they have done just that. And it was very quick for them to implement. I think they'd done it with basically in about a morning. Certainly from when I was asking for it and then when the feature became available. Yeah, it seemed to be about a morning's work. So, what does this do? Well, if I go to View and I go to Specify Dimensions, I can do just that. So I could make it 800 by 600 if I wanted to, and there we go. Now it's 800 by 600. I could make it widescreen. So 1280 by 720, and look, now it's widescreen. And yeah, basically any dimension I want. Like I said, I normally go for 1280 by 960. So that gives me a nice 4:3 image that I can then use to use my VMs, and it locks it to the display. So if I were to go and change the resolution, if I go to 640 by 480, yep, it's done that. Likewise, if I go to 1024 by 768, same thing. 1152 by 864. Oh, it's now wanting to do it at 256 colours. 1280 by 1024. Now this is actually higher than the resolution. So, yeah, it will still work. It's higher than the resolution of the window because it's 1280 by 960, so the aspect ratio might be slightly off. 1600 by 1200. Again, it will work, but it'll be blurry. So yeah, and obviously it's now in 256 colors. So yeah. So I'm just going to go back to 800 by 600 at 16-bit color. Boom, there we are. And there we have it. So, back to the regularly scheduled programming now. So, I've got my resolution here. I quite like that. Options from the Windows 95 PC. I'm going to open the config file for the Presario 2240, and I'm just going to drop these in. And hopefully what that will do is when I go to start that machine, the window is of a size that I want. And it's not starting. Now there are some issues with some of the with emulating this. The sound didn't seem to work, and it seems that the display is the same as well. That doesn't seem to work. So yeah, that's something. Okay, internal controller. Nope, that really does not want to work. So it looks like I'm going to have to actually install a PCI card. So, so it seems that the internal display controller on this 2240 is frazzled. So, so let's see if we can fix this. Now, the graphics card on the Presario 2240 is actually PCI, apparently. So what I can do, hopefully, is S3 Trio 64 Plus, I think it is, and it has 2 megs of video RAM, PCI graphics, 64-bit. Oh, there we go. And for some reason, it's not letting it fill the screen. That's nice. Oh, there we go. So, we're finally there. So, now we need to actually install an operating system on this machine. So let's install Windows 95. I'm quite lucky. I do have a restore CD. So let's get that sorted now. So, in order that you might load a CD-ROM into a virtual machine in 86 box, it must be an image. You can't use real CDs with this, I don't believe, because if we go to Media and then CD-ROM, you can only load an image. I don't know if there's an extra plugin which would allow for the use of real CD-ROM drives. If not, then that needs to be a feature that needs to be added, and I will probably contact the GitHub page again and see if we can get that added. Because when I went to install Next Step or OpenStep, I actually had to have alcohol 120% read in the actual Next Step CD-ROM, because it was formatted in such a way that the image, Windows wouldn't recognize it, and it seems neither would the image reader on PCM. So yeah, this is something that does need to be added to 86 box. It has a lot of good features, does 86 box, but it has a lot of features that are not there, that need to be there. So, anyway, this has to be an image. Oh yeah, and for those wondering what alcohol 120% has to do with needing support for real CD drives, well, it emulates one, and the Next Step CD-ROM did support being mounted in that virtual CD-ROM drive, which could then be picked up by PCM and was treated as if it were a real CD drive. So even though real CD drives are more of a rarity these days, I still think that it would work if we had access to them within 86 box. Anyway, so to mount a CD image in 86 box, go to Media, select the drive you want to mount the image to, click on Image, and then select the image in question, which is the Compaq Presario 2240. You can open that, and then click to go back into 86 box, give mouse and keyboard control. Okay, and yeah, hopefully this will now work, and indeed it is doing so. Starting Windows 95. So this is basically the restoration of a 2240. The Restore CD will pick this machine up as a genuine Compaq Presario 2240. So we're going to need to put the serial key in. There we go, Presario model 2240 English. Is this correct? Yep. So this is now going to go and partition and format the hard disk. So it's just going to take a few minutes to do that. So, even though this will be a lot quicker than the genuine 2240, the bare metal one, oh, there we go. Can still take a few seconds to think about what it's doing. So, go put the kettle on, because you're installing Windows to a Compaq, and that's what you do. Go make a cup of tea. Right. Need to put the number in again. There we go. And there we go. So excellent. That's actually working. As you can see, it's doing it quite quickly. Okay, so we are now ready to restart. So what we want to do is we want to eject the QuickRestore CD. So to do that, go to Media, CD-ROM, and then go to Empty. You can also control your media from the bottom here. So the CD-ROM icon will basically allow you to insert and remove CDs. You can also reload previous media. That is actually quite a useful option. And you can do similar things with floppy disks. You can even create new floppy images, insert a diskette, floppy disk image, either regularly or in write protected mode, which is quite useful. Some software requires that a floppy disk you're using be write protected. Certain installer routines require that. So yeah, that's quite useful. Anyway, we're way to now restart the machine. Sometimes if it's not using the correct video card that would have been in use, it may start up in 16 color mode. I'm reckoning this could be the case on here, but it may not be. So let's have a look. Yes, it is. Now, if the actual video was working, then it would start up in 800 by 600 16-bit color. So, regional settings, British, keyboard layout. We're not going to use a British keyboard because this keyboard that I'm using is a United States one. Of course, British is the default options on here because it's a British Compaq CD-ROM that I'm restoring it from. So J. Wakefield, the Flying Scotsman. Okay, now setup needs to restart the system. So it looks like I'm going to need to reconfigure the video on this computer. I can do that. Oh, there we go. It's actually going about detecting it. It has detected it as a standard PCI graphics adapter, even though Windows 95 does have support for the S3 Trio 64 out of the box. I've actually configured this with a Trio 64 V2 because I did try with the regular one and it came up 16 color mode VGA. Yeah, so that wasn't a thing. So unknown device, unknown monitor. So what is this? You're not using the Compaq V410. Daylight saving time. That is actually the correct time. So this clock is actually locked to the main system clock. I could turn that off if I wanted to, but this computer does support post year 2000 times, which is kind of nice. Okay, so first you need to register. Yep, that's fine. Internet Explorer 4. So we need to, well, first of all, we don't have sound either. So, yep, that it's not present or working correctly. That's quite tragic. So we are going to need to install another sound card and disable the audio in the BIOS. We can do that, but for now, let's go to display adapters. Well, actually, we'll do it from the display control panel because we can set the resolution at the same time. Right click on the desktop, select properties, settings, advanced properties, and yep, we've got a few options which Windows thinks is in here. It's a Trio 64V Plus. I think that's what it was. So we'll use that. DirectX driver disk is now required. Really? Ah, well that's no good. Right, we're gonna have to use a 1996 driver, obviously. That's there we go. We can reinstall DirectX as needed, and we'll set the color to 16-bit 800 by 600, and we'll specify a monitor now, plug and play monitor. And there we go. More like the Compaq Presario that that we may know and love. So let's see if we can't add some sound to the Compaq. So in order to do that, we've shut it down. We're going to reconfigure it. We're going to go to configure, and we'll go to sound, and we will, let's install a Sound Blaster 16. There we go. Those seem like pretty sensible. Those seem like pretty sensible values. Okay. And there we go. That's it installed. But we need to disable the internal sound first. So we'll go back into the BIOS. It's F10 to access the BIOS on a Compaq, because it's a Compaq. So we need to now go to advanced, and then down to audio options, sound disabled. Okay, and because it's not a plug-and-play version of the sound card, we will need to go and install it manually. So let's go do that. So to do that, start settings control panel, and there we go. Add new hardware. There we go. Windows has finished detecting hardware and is ready to install support for all detected devices. To see a list of devices Windows detected, click Details. To finish installing detected devices, click Finish. Excellent. Found it. So we're doing well. Already we have a Compaq Presario 2240 with an outbound video card and an outbound sound card, even though those things are on the motherboard. So this must be a really faulty Presario 2240, one that's been run through the mill. Because by and large these are quite reliable machines. Yep, that works. So yeah, I'm gonna show volume control on a taskbar. That would be be ideal. Now, some of you might have, if you're using this on a zoomed in screen like I am, you might notice the mouse pointer becomes a wee bit, moves a wee bit fast across the screen. So the way that I have worked out, best way to try and alleviate that is you can go to Start, Settings, go to your mouse options, and you can turn down the motion. And that does kind of work, but I've found that by using a copy of Logitech Mouseware, which you can actually obtain through WinWorld PC, you can actually get more control over that. So setup is initializing, please wait. And British version of Quicken, because it has the pound symbol instead of the dollar sign. Okay, so we can choose what to install it in. We'll install it in English. Okay, so now we will switch over to disk 2. Okay, so there we are. So now we can go and restart Windows. Please make sure the diskette has been removed from drive A. Thank you for reminding me. There we go, Windows is now restarting. Mouseware has detected a new pointing device on the PS2 port. Would you like to configure the new device now? Yep. It's on the right side of the keyboard, and I can have both buttons at the same time. Performs auto scroll, make double clicking easier. Nope, that's fine. So there we go, and there's even a way to get to logitech.com from there. That's kind of nice. Black by Logitech, nice. But I think I'm actually going to install the alternative mouse pointers, and there we go. So we can slow this right down, and we can actually turn acceleration on or off. And yep, I've actually found that it works quite nicely. Okay, so I do think I find 86-box emulation slower in general than that of PCM, if I'm going to be honest. So I certainly think for the better all-rounder, PCM is what you want. But 86-box does have some pretty neat tricks up its sleeve that are more than emulating the Compaq Presario 2240. Admittedly, we're not going to really be able to completely emulate the full Presario 2240 because, well, one thing that we're unable to emulate in this machine is its quote-unquote blazing fast 56k modem. We just can't emulate that from, yeah. Gotta love the spec stickers of back in the day. You know, it's all about the internet. Of course it was. 1998 happened, and then suddenly everything was about the internet. It just was. And even, look at the active desktop. They made everything look like a bloody internet window. That was the thing. I'll always be reminded of, oh dear, that was unfortunate. You know, I'll always be reminded of a time when I was browsing the contents of a floppy disk in the humanities classroom at school, and the teacher in question, the machine that I was on had IE4 and it had the active desktop update and what have you, and the teacher obviously he saw my screen, he kind of jumped to conclusions. He was like, "What are you doing on the internet?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not on the net. I'm just looking at the contents of this diskette." Yeah, I've always thought that IE4 made the desktop unreliable, and actually IE5 can help that, actually, believe it or not. I think having Internet Explorer 5 render your Windows Explorer windows does make the active desktop more reliable. That just seems to be, you know, what I have found, which is why on my actual 2240, I generally tend to install IE5 on there the minute I'm at a desktop. So there we go. We finally got the we finally have a nice mouse pointer installed. So let's see if we can actually play a game. So we've got Jazz Jackrabbit. So we'll see how well this actually plays on this virtualized version of the 2240. Now, I know for a fact that this works on the real 2240 because the amount of autumn evenings in 1998 spent watching my big brother playing this game. Well, maybe it was only one or two, but thanks to the mind-bending effects of time, it seems like it was almost every evening, which it was not. I guess you just kind of remember the best bits of an era. And I guess for me in the autumn of 1998, part of that was fickering about on the Compaq. Because, why wouldn't it be? Right, okay. So, let's see if we can get this to go. Games, Jazz Jackrabbit 2. Hey! Look at that. This is actually running a lot better than I expected it to. Rabbit in training. Nice. Ha! Nice. So this seems to be working very beautifully, actually, if I'm honest. I hate to say it, but I do think as old computers become more unreliable and more difficult to fix, emulation is going to be the more viable option for a lot of people. You know, it's I mean, I love old hardware, don't get me wrong, and I think it's old hardware is always going to be king, but I mean, as prices rise, which they have done, you know, retro computing is no longer, you know, a cheaper hobby to get into now. It's you know, since I, you know, even since I started collecting quite late on in 2011, you know, I mean, 10 years ago, I mean, it was a lot cheaper. I mean, the idea that I could get a Dell Latitude CPI for a $5 now is just, it's laughable, you know, and it's, you know, I almost, you know, I'm almost wishing I'd tried to get a hold of more machines then, but, you know, I did. I had a hold of a lot of machines actually then, so probably for the best, and, you know, I've spent a lot of money that, yeah, I just didn't have the money. Shouldn't have done it, but, you know what I mean, I probably should have started earlier, really, so that I could have really got some, machines, because I mean, back in the day, I mean, you could buy like old Macs. Well, you could get given them. People, you couldn't even give them away. You couldn't give those things away back in the day, you know. And it's like nowadays, you just can't get. But you know, thanks to things like PCM and 86 box, you know, you can have the majority of that experience. But you know, I mean, if you have the room and you have the money to, you know, and you can get a good deal on hardware, certainly get it, because, you know, I mean, there's nothing quite like, you know, viewing this as it was on a CRT with, you know, the sounds of the computer booting up and the hard disk. You know, I mean, they had their own sounds. I mean, you're just not going to get that in things like this. Presario 2240 with its distinctive 2 gigabyte Seagate hard drive sound, it's just not a thing that you will get in emulation. But, you know, I mean, if you have no other option, then emulation, it's not the worst. Now, I don't know why I'm sounding so raspy at the moment. But, yeah. Well, I guess that when I was in the White House, computers were just a lot more exciting. I guess it was my presidency that made that computer you're trying to emulate possible. So that's a wee bit of jazz jackrabbit. As for Billy Carr, is that the Scottish way of pronouncing rabbit? Rabbit. Whoops. I don't think I was supposed to go that way. Let's try going this way. Would you look at that? I think I can hear bats. There we go. So I think that's enough Jazz Jackrabbit. Did we use this for playing games? Well, kind of, but that's not what Mum bought it for. She bought it for study. So, and I can tell you for definite that our Compaq Presario 2240 never got up to that sort of shenanigans. It worked. It worked every time. So there's still... It's a work in progress, I think this is. However, talking about homework, I can show you the printer emulation in 86box. So let's do that now. So to do that, start settings printers. I should have installed the printer at install time, but didn't. Never mind. Add a printer. It's going to build in the hardware database. Nice. So it tells you to use the Apple laser writer for a color printer. Believe it or not, the PDFs will print out in color anyway. That's how it works. It will print, in air quotes, to a PDF file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to install an HP LaserJet for PostScript. There we go. To LPT1, I want that as the default printer. Would I like to print a test page? Yes, I would. And now if I gang into the 86box VMs, that's where I've stored mine. Go to Compaq Presario 2240, printer. There's always one test page that is blank. And here we are, Windows 95 printer test page. So there you have it. You can actually print from 86box. I kind of like that because, well, might actually be in with a shout of being able to print from that Christmas card diskette. We'll try that for TFS Christmas in 86box because I can do it to... I could not capture a printer port. It would only support printing to LPT1. Try to capture a printer port for a networked printer. Yeah, obviously didn't work as well as I was hoping. I love that. Compaq Internet Setup, Microsoft Referral Server, AOL. Set up internet here. So we could do that. Yeah. So, yeah, that I think is the Presario 2240 with Internet Explorer 4.0 active desktop. And this is not a Compaq Presario 2240. Because if it were, it would work. So, there we go. So, I think with all that said and done, I think it's time to shut this machine down. And I think I will end the video there. So, I hope you've all enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. You could also subscribe to the channel and hit the wee bell icon to be notified when I have published a new video. But until then, please feel free to check out some of my previous videos.